Are you refusing to accept my present? How rude are you? My mother-in-law pushes a filthy package toward me. The bag is strangely heavy. You're being too kind. I turn her down softly. As usual, she forces in a harsh voice. I want you to have it. Are you still saying no to me? It's not that I don't want it, but you are ungrateful to refuse someone's kindness. My son picked the wrong woman for a wife. I've done so much for you, and you just dismiss me like I'm a nuisance. Are you going to pretend that I've never done you any favors? You haven't done anything to make me feel indebted to you. I said it in my mind, but I could never say it out loud. She hates me and looks down on me. She's furious and shoves the package into my chest. Whatever, just take it. She intently looks at me and signals me to open it. When I reluctantly obey. No! My name is Lucy. I live with my husband in an apartment near his parents, and I'm pregnant for the first time. We're expecting a baby girl and have decided to name her Martha. Today, my sister-in-law, Jessica, is over at my house. Sorry for coming on such short notice. Thanks to you, my move went smoothly. I'm glad you came. You've been through a lot. I served coffee to her and juice to my nephew, Keith. She just filed for divorce from her husband and moved into an apartment near my in-laws' house. It's close to my house too. She's friendly and easy to talk to, so I like hanging out with her. When my baby is born, she'll be able to play with my nephew often. He's a quiet boy and always hides behind his mom. When my eyes meet his, he smiles shyly and asks, Aunt Lucy, can I touch your belly? Of course you can. He's still timid, but he must be curious about my big belly and becomes chattier than normal. He gently strokes my belly and whispers into my ear, Your baby is a girl, isn't it? Yes, but how do you know that? I just found out the gender not long ago and haven't told anyone yet. While Keith is in the bathroom, I mentioned Jessica about it. About the gender of my baby. Oh, you found out the sex? What is it? It seems that she didn't know from her reaction. It's a girl. I'm thinking of naming her Martha. Keith just guessed the sex of my baby right. He's amazing. She looks a little astounded, then chuckles. He seems to be able to guess things like that. He can see a little into the future or something. It's like he has some mysterious power. I see, that's amazing. But it seems he can only vaguely see things. He hasn't guessed the lottery numbers right. Too bad. I smile, watching her laughing at her own joke. Keith has a mysterious air around him, so I'm able to accept her story without any resistance. Contrary to my good relationship with my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, Joanne, never liked me. What's she giving me this time? I've been telling her I don't want anything. I sigh at the side of a bag in front of the door. She's been harassing me by giving me unwanted presents. It's not obvious harassment, but she gives me food that's borderline spoiled or disheveled clothes that no one would want to wear. Unwanted things that are clear no one would be happy to receive. It's tricky as she could justify that it was in her best interest. It's a way of doing things that neither my father-in-law nor my husband Matt noticed. "Joanne, you're being too kind." I refused softly, but she retorted in a harsh voice, "I want you to have it. How can you say no to that?" "I'm not saying no, but you are ungrateful to refuse someone's kindness. You haven't done anything to make me feel indebted to you." She's furious and shoves the package into my chest. I once discussed this with Matt, but he's been spoiled by her and doesn't even expect a thing. "She doesn't have any bad intentions." He shrugs it off. It's frustrating that he makes it sound like it's my fault for not being grateful. Recently, she escalated, and I received a bag with soil and worms in it. "How rude! They say it's good soil for your health, so I went out of my way to get it from my neighbor's garden." Satisfied to see me freaked out, she couldn't contain her laughter. As she was leaving, she told me to get rid of my nasty bag as soon as possible. This isn't the only harassment. On weekends, she comes over under the guise of helping a pregnant daughter-in-law and stays all day. "Matt, is she doing her chores? It looks dirty over there." I'm skeptical if she's making a comfortable home for a hardworking man like you. She sighs dramatically at me. "Oh no, Matt doesn't like this. You eat the fried chicken I got for you. There's French fries too. You love fried food, don't you?" "Thanks, Mom. You know me well." She has always been negative about my cooking, which is mainly vegetable-based. Even so, she eats 3 meals I serve and leaves a lot of fried food that Matt likes. If she's going to criticize my food, why does she eat them? Matt's getting better thanks to her all-meal food. Of course, she has never helped me with housework. Rather, she emphasizes that pregnancy is not an illness, and even forbids Matt to help me. "I'd like you to at least clean the bathroom for me." "Pregnancy is not an illness, is it? That's what my mom says. You can do it once you're not sick." He's been influenced by her, so it's very troublesome. I've been fed up with my life, but one day, I noticed that Joanne hasn't been bothering me with unwanted gifts and stopped coming over. It's since Jessica and Keith moved closer. I asked Jessica what's been going on. She gives me a troubled look and sighs. Keith's been doing mischief at in-laws frequently and making Joanne crazy. He poured ketchup all over the clothes my mom had put together and knocked over a container full of food. He doesn't seem like that type of boy. Before moving here, he had never caused trouble. I wonder if it's because of the divorce. She's also shocked and has been troubled by his behavior. I mentioned it to Matt, but he says, "It's just a child's mischief. Don't make a fuss over nothing." He clicks his tongue in annoyance and gets ready to go out. "Where are you going?" "Huh? I'm going to work, of course. I'll be late today." Then he disappears behind the door. Work? It's the weekend. He's been working on his day off a lot lately. I coolly watch him leave the house. Moments later, Keith shows up alone. "What are you doing here?" "Aunt Lucy, I need to tell you something about my grandma and Uncle Matt." I sense a disturbance in his voice. "Actually," I'm beyond shocked by what he tells me. The frustration I've been holding back until now boils up as anger from the core of my body. I see. Thank you for telling me, Keith. This is unforgivable. I can't turn a blind eye after being mistreated this badly. An eye for an eye. I'm going to double the payback. One day, Matt, Jessica, Keith, and I gathered at my in-laws' house for my father-in-law's birthday. I made a meatloaf today. Don't be shy to get more. While Joanne brings out already sliced pieces on each plate, Matt leaves to get salt and pepper. I take the opportunity to switch seats and sit next to Keith. When he returned, he sat down at my previous seat. The meatloaf Joanne served me is now in front of him. That's it? When he's about to put a piece into his mouth, No, Matt, stop! She swats his fork away with her hand. It fell to the floor with a clatter. What the heck is wrong with you, Mom? Matt stares at her with wide eyes. All of us are stunned, and the table falls dead silence. Is something wrong, Joanne? No. It was just a bug. A bug? There's no such thing anywhere. What a lame lie. As I criticize her in my head, sensing the awkwardness, she rushed to excuse herself. I really saw the bug. Anyway, why are you sitting there? That's Matt's seat. She glares at me. This was the slice I served you. She mutters in a low voice as she looks at the piece on the floor. What do you mean? It's apparent that she's done something to my food out of spite. Then Keith, who's sitting next to me, pulls out Jessica's phone and shows us the screen. Look, Grandma. Oh, what? He plays a video of her pulling some kind of powder on my meatloaf. What is it, Mom? What did you put on the food? The bizarre image made me shiver. If Aunt Lucy ate it, she got a stomachache, and her baby suffered. Is that true? What are you thinking, Mom? Keith shows us the other voices he's been recording. There is footage of her intentionally putting the eggs she sent to me under the sun to make them go bad, picking up an ugly flower vase from the garbage dump, and collecting dirty used clothes from neighbors. It also shows us she's humming and stuffing them into cardboard boxes. Her face turns wider and wider as these images are revealed one by one. What is this? This is harassment. What's going on? What have you been doing to Lucy? My father-in-law and Jessica are flabbergasted. Keith, you knew, and you've been playing pranks on us all this time? I poured ketchup on the old clothes she was going to send to Aunt Lucy. The food I turned over was made from rotten ingredients. I ruined it before she could give it to her. Thank you, Keith. He was protecting me and my baby in the form of mischief. He could see the future that Joanne was going to harm us, so he interfered and recorded evidence on the phone. I'm so moved by the fact that this timid boy has been protecting me and my baby that tears well up in my eyes. You guys are overreacting. That powder is just a laxative. What's the big deal? What are you talking about? Pregnant women can't take any medicine. That's right. What if something happens to the baby? Joanne glares at us all. Keith doesn't listen to me, so I want Matt to come back home. And I don't like the fact that the baby is a girl. So, she's been harassing me without her husband, who hates crookedness, to find out. Mom, what the heck? Matt, who remained silent, blames her. My eyebrows twitched at the sound of his voice. How can you blame her? Let's get a divorce. Wait, what? What's this all of a sudden? I pulled out the report compiled by the private investigator. It contains the evidence of him having an affair with a colleague. My in-laws are stunned by his sudden turn of events. You told your mom that I didn't do my chores and that I was a bad cook. You regretted marrying me. You were even encouraging her to harass me, weren't you? You were hoping that I would initiate the divorce. You didn't want to pay alimony, so you didn't want to do anything about it yourself. You took advantage of your mom. You're the one who started it all. No, what are you talking about? I'm just... No excuse. I have proof here. I'll give you the divorce you want, but you're going to pay alimony. When I finished scolding him, he shrinks into his chair. When Keith came over alone the other day, he told me about Joanne's harassment and Matt's affair. I guess he could see the future. Since then, I had been gathering evidence and decided to expose it when we all gathered like this. I'm so sorry, Lucy. I've been fed up with my mom's favorism toward Matt. I was aware that she didn't think well of you, but I couldn't say anything because I've been supported by my parents since moving back here. I had no idea that the two of them were in it together. I am so sorry. I'm going to cut ties with them. Cut ties? Matt, this is what happens when you cheat on your wife. You were harassing her badly too. They start blaming each other. Knock it off! Get the heck out of here, both of you! My father-in-law roars and throws them out of the house. I apologize on their behalf, Lucy. He seems deeply affected by the event. Then he filed for divorce from Joanne. I also lodged divorce papers with Matt's consent. By the way, when Jessica decided on divorce, Keith told her that her ex-husband was cheating on her. She didn't believe him at first, but when he kept telling her, she finally looked into it and found out about the affair. She was frantically gathering evidence at that time. Keith observed her and learned the importance of evidence. One day, when he came to visit me at home, I told him I had a regular checkup the next day. He strongly advised me not to go. But I must go. Then please, take a different route than usual. Promise me. I sensed something was up and took a different route to the checkup. When I got home without incident and turned on the TV, I saw Joanne's name on the screen. What on earth? I had always walked on the clinic for exercise. On that same road, she was run over by the car that had lost control. It was reported that she had broken her leg. My father-in-law told me later that she had been stalking me out of resentment. I guess she was waiting on me that day. Keith was right about taking a different road and protecting me from her and the accident. The accident was brought on by my grandma, he said. He had a point. It's the law of attraction, or cause the effect, or something like that. I guess if you hold a grudge or are obsessed with someone, maybe the negative energy will come back to you. Let's avoid doing things that have no benefits to anyone. I learned this lesson well from this incident. Jessica and Keith moved in with my father-in-law. I'm glad that they come to visit me more often now that we are closer to each other. Since the birth of my daughter, Keith has become more expressive. Why is Martha crying? Is she hungry? He seems unable to predict the baby and is at a loss. It's so cute to watch him trying hard to put her to sleep. You're such a good big brother. When I praise him, he turns his face away from me, looking somewhat uninterested. It seems he doesn't like being called big brother. I can't predict the future, but I'm so looking forward to it. I giggle at the sight of my adorable daughter and nephew. She's such a hard worker. She volunteers to help me without a break today. That's what daughters-in-law should be like. My mother-in-law prevented me from sitting on a chair, even thought I was pregnant. When I tried to rest, she whispered, "Keep working, you pig," in my ear. I'm exhausted. Since I had been working on my feet for a while, I felt pressure in my stomach. I needed to sit down and take a break somehow. While my mother-in-law excused herself to use the restroom, I managed to sneak myself onto the couch. I was planning to get up before she returned. It had been hours since last I had a break. She'll be back soon. I should get up now. As I was contemplating, "Why are you sitting there? Get up and work. It's only a few hours. Don't be so lazy." I was awakened by her yell. I had no clue that I had dozed off. "Oh, sorry. I'll get up right now." Ouch! There was a shock of pain in my stomach from the sudden movement, and my mother-in-law quickly raised her hand. "My name is Amber. I'm a housemaker who turned 30 this year. I live with my husband Simon, who is 2 years older than me. I met him 3 years after I started working. A friend of mine from university was having drinks and invited me to join her. He happened to be sitting next to me at the bar. At first, I was skeptical of him, but he turned out to be the down-to-earth guy, and we ended up hitting off. We exchanged our numbers and gradually became closer. We became official 6 months later and got married after 3 years of dating. I quit my job when we got married, and now I'm solely responsible for the housework. It was never my desire to be a full-time housewife, though. I thought it would be the best way to support Simon, who was busy with his trading job. Even though his schedule is hectic, he never forgets to show his affection. He always gives me cards and gifts on my birthday and anniversaries, and often showers me with love and appreciation. I'm always grateful to have such a nice husband. It's a smooth sailing marriage, but there's one problem. It is my mother-in-law, Tina, who lives a short distance away from us. She and her husband are still together, but whenever he is out, she visits me without notice. She comes at least 3 times a week, which I think is more than normal. Her purpose is to train me. She has an idea of a perfect wife and thinks I'm far from it. Under the guise of training, she just uses me however she wants to. She tells me to cook dinner for her and her husband, and sends me to buy her favorite sweets from a high-end patisserie. Every time she comes over, I become her personal assistant. Each of her demands is nothing to get so upset about, but when they pile up, they become burdens. Also, she's extremely proud of Simon's high education and high income, and brags about how she had raised him to be an elite. I can let such boasting pass if it's only a few times, but she repeats it every time I see her. Of course, I can't let her know how I feel, as she will instantly get upset. I normally go along by exaggerating my admiration for her. There's one more thing that is causing me tremendous stress. She's always urging me to have a baby. Simon and I would love to have kids, but the storks haven't come to us. We're considering fertility treatment as an option, but we're still hoping the natural conception and haven't visited the clinic yet. Tina seems to have an extraordinary idea of having grandchildren. She's also looking forward to taking them to various places when they are born. One of her friends recently got a grandchild and has been showing her pictures, which got her envious. The other day, she told me that she will raise my kids so I can focus on my housework. It makes me worry about what the future holds for me. Then one morning, I woke up feeling ill. I don't have a fever, but I feel nauseous and don't have much of an appetite. After Simon left for work, I rest for a while, but I am not getting better. I'm worried, so I decided to go to hospital in the afternoon. The doctor there tells me that I'm pregnant. I called Simon as soon as I get home. Hey, hon, I'm sorry to bother you at work, but there is something I really want to tell you. He alarmingly asks if everything's okay. We are pregnant. You're finally going to be a dad. He pauses for a moment and then screams in joy. We share our excitement for a bit and talk about the future. We agreed not to tell anyone until we're in a stable period for now. Of course, we would keep it a secret from Tina. The problem is her unannounced visits and ridiculous demands. It would be fine if she just asked me to cook dinner or go shopping at the local supermarket. But if she asked me to weed her garden or clean the attic, it would be the problem for me. Since then, I've been in a whirl of attrition with her. I can't do much about her showing up at my house unannounced, so I came up with a plan to fake illness and stay in bed. The moment she arrives, I would rush to my room and jump in the bed. She's not that selfish to drag me out of bed. When she asks me to come to her house, I use the same excuse of being ill and decline. While I've been in such a battle, I finally entered a stable period. It's about time for my belly to start showing. Simon and I had been discussing when to announce it. Then I received a call from Tina. Oh, hi. If you're there, pick up the phone faster. You're really slow. Sorry, what's going on with you today? She has been on edge lately since she hasn't been able to use me as she wants. Actually, I'm having a small gathering with my friends the day after tomorrow at my place. You're coming too, right? Everyone's asking about you. I've met her friends before. They're supposedly friends from the church. I think about refusing for a moment, but I remember that the doctor advises light exercise to control my weight. Based on my past experience, I know that she wouldn't ask me to do outrageous things in front of her friends. I decide to participate. Yes, I will join you. Her voice thrills with satisfaction. Great! Come a little early on the day and help me with the preparations. She hands up the phone. On the day of the gathering, Tina calls me over early. It's supposed to start at 3 p.m., but I've been summoned and forced to run errands since 8 a.m., starting from laundering and cleaning to preparing lunch and even giving her a massage. It goes on and on endlessly. I haven't been able to sit down even once all this time. Could you please let me sit down and take a break for a moment? What are you talking about? You had been sick for a while, so I was considerate to leave you alone. Now, you can work hard. But I don't want to hear excuses. I'm going to the store to buy sweets for later, so you can wash the dishes. I try to tell her I'm pregnant, but she would not listen to me and goes out to a nearby pastry store. I have no choice but to get on with the cleaning. She finally comes back at 3 p.m. with her friends. I'm back, Amber. I ran into them nearby, so we came together. Here, I bought cakes. Can you put them on plates and bring them out to the table? She shoves the box of cakes to me and quickly takes her own seat. Apparently, she has no intention of doing anything herself. I let out a discreet sigh and greet her friends before heading to the kitchen. When I open the box, I find various pieces of cake. There are 4. 3 friends are here. No matter how I think about it, one is missing. No way. Tina seemed to be adamant not to let me sit down. Even after serving the cakes, she tried to keep me away from the chair. She had things on the chair I'm supposed to sit on at first, and now she's moving it out into the hallway to make more room. Her friends urge me to sit down and have a coffee, but she declines on my behalf. She's such a hard worker. She volunteers to help me without a break today. That's what daughters-in-law should be like. All I can do is fake a smile, and so do her friends. Just as awkwardness fills the air, one of her friends cheerfully mentions, "Oh yes, my grandson started crawling the other day. Do you want to see the video?" The topic of the conversation shifts, and everyone focuses on the image of a cute baby. The atmosphere of the room becomes relaxed immediately. By the way, how exquisite is the vase you have there? Don't you want to put flowers? Another friend points to a vase by the window. Tina's face turns gray for a moment, but then she immediately smiles. It's so beautiful by itself, so I just leave it as is. A friendly conversation ensues for a while. In the middle of it, Tina excuses herself to use the restroom. This is my chance. I jump on the empty sofa. I don't even know how many hours I've been on my feet. I drift off to sleep from exhaustion and relief. Oh, shoot. By the time I realize, it's too late. Why are you sitting there? Get up and get to work. It's only for a few hours. Don't be so lazy. This is why I don't like young women. When Tina comes out of the restroom, she finds me sleeping on the sofa and scolds me. Her friends are stunned and looking at us with wide eyes. Feeling better after yelling at me, she returns to her seat and sips her coffee. I'm sorry. I feel pathetic and tears welled up. Besides, it's hard to imagine that I would have to endure her bullying in the future. I apologize to her and try to get up. At this moment, someone's hand is placed on my shoulder. Leave it to me. It's Kathy. She's the eldest of Tina's friends. If you are going to treat her like that, you should get up and work yourself. Tina never imagined being accused by her friends, so she's perplexed. Being competitive, there's no way she could keep her mouth shut. Don't meddle in my family's affairs. Besides, do you think you're in the position to give me a lecture? Your son is a high school graduate, and your husband is just a salaryman. If you understand that, you should watch your mouth. I raised Simon to be a respectable elite. Her nostrils flare up in triumph as she speaks fast and furious. On the other hand, Kathy doesn't seem to flinch at all. She snickers and then opens her mouth again. "What are you talking about? You idiot. You should be ashamed of yourself for mistreating a young lady like that." She keeps going. "It was your husband's late ex-wife who raised Simon to be the man he is today. Oh, and by the way, my husband and son are starting their own business. I don't think it was important, so I didn't tell you until now." Yes, in fact, Tina is the second wife. Simon was already a freshman in college when she married his father. He was already living alone in a dorm, so he had never been taken care of her. "What the heck? You all make fun of me!" She's losing it as her sore spot is rubbed. She stands up, slamming the table with all her might. "I hate this thing!" She screams, and at the same time, throws down the vase by the window on the floor. A loud sound of shattering glass echoes, and the vase breaks into pieces. Everyone gasps in unison. When Tina comes to her senses, she freezes there. Then she looks at us and says, "It's a memento of the late ex-wife. Please don't tell my husband. He's going to be furious." That's impossible. The vase is in a million pieces now, and it's not something she could get a new one for right away. Furthermore, I've been filming the whole thing, so there's no way she could get away with it. "Tina, why are you doing this? After all, it is you who is concerned." She replies weakly, "You have no idea. You're pampered just because you're young. You have an elite husband and you have a future. I'm so envious of that. I want people to pay more attention to me." Her resentment keeps pouring out. "That's why I've been asking for a grandchild. That everyone would look at me as the grandmother of an adorable baby." I'm feeling a little sorry for her. Maybe she is a lonely person. Actually, she glares at me as I try to tell her something. "This is all your fault. You're a failure who can't even conceive. Get down on your knees and apologize for the mess you created." Now I'm a fool for feeling even a little sympathy for her. If she apologizes and changes her mind, I will be able to let this go peacefully, but I guess not. I asked her friends to leave and wait for Simon and my father-in-law to return. Once all of us are gathered, I tell them the details of the day's events and show them the recording. Simon is furious with Tina for making me work without a break and yells out, "She's pregnant! Are you serious? You're having a baby? Oh no! If you had told me earlier, I wouldn't have done this." Upon learning the pregnancy, she finally regrets what she has done. "That means I'm finally going to be a grandma. Of course, you will let me babysit, right? Please, I'm going to be a good grandma." Her attitude turns upside down now, and she is wiggling and pleading with Simon, who shakes his head in disapproval. "What are you talking about? I'm not going to let you see my precious child." Tina's so shocked that she collapsed to her knees and utters a sad cry. I've been told lately that my father-in-law filed for divorce. She intentionally and maliciously destroyed a memento of his beloved late ex-wife. She had been fed up with her pretentious and selfish way, so it was a good timing to separate himself from her. Not only did he file for divorce, he also demanded that she pay for the broken vase. This caused her to lose almost all of her modest savings. She was literally kicked out of her house with nothing. She had been living a comfortable life, but now she's living alone in a small apartment. I, on the other hand, was able to give birth to a healthy baby girl. Both Simon and my father-in-law cried with joy. Of course, I was overwhelmed with happiness too. Every time her little hand squeezes my finger, I'm filled with tremendous love for her. I swear to myself that I would protect her no matter what.